What's up, everybody? My name's Danny Ferrari.
My name's Parker Immense.
And we are Excellent Sound, and we are back with an awesome video for you guys. We got sub hacks today.
Fucking mega tutorial right now.
Subwoofer hacks. How to hack your subwoofer.
How to get that low end perfect.
So we already did a video called Why Your Subs Suck, but this one is a little bit special in the difference. We're going to show you how to remake anybody's sub, right? And this is fresh off our new release, Tearout Volume 1, and that's another big reason why. We've been kind of
Bro, it's heavy, dude. It was heavy. That was a little tear out.
Little tear out fucking in the pit. Okay. Cool. Yeah, fresh off our brand new pack, Tearout Volume 1, we've been sort of teasing, doing a video on how to make the perfect tearout sub. So in today's video, we're going to be doing two parts, okay? We're going to be showing you guys how to replicate anybody's sub that you ever wanted, okay? We're going to show you guys how to do that and how easy it is, okay? And then two, we're going to show you how to do the tearout sub. Those are the main points of the video. We're going to have a free download in the description down below for one of the sounds. We will explain that in a little bit. We'll talk about how you guys can get this project file as well. And of course, our brand new pack, Tearout Volume 1, is out now. It's got 150 serum presets. All the stuff that we're going to be showing you today is in that pack, okay? And it's got over 150 samples. So make sure you guys check that out. Subscribe if you're new here. Like the video. Comment down some of your best sub tips. And let's jump into it. You got anything?
You heard the man, all right? Listen to him.
I nailed that intro.
You fucking nailed it, dude.
That was a great intro.
Go pick up Tearout. Listen to Daniel.
Listen to me, dude.
Did you know his middle name is Anthony?
Did you know that?
Now you do.
Now you do. And
I just fucking doxed your ass.
Did you know that Parker's middle name is Parker? All right, anyway, so let's get into it. This is from one of the drops of our demo for Volume 1. I'm going to go ahead and play this for you guys, and we're going to be showing you guys how to make this sub today. You can see how it's very much in your face. Okay?
I love when dubstep artists go like this on stage. Just like a fucking Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, better be fucking thunder coming out of our fucking cocks and shit. All right, yeah, so we're going to be showing you guys how to do that a little bit later in the video. But first, I want to show you guys how to replicate anybody's sub. So we got a Marauder track here, okay? I'm not going to play it because of copyright reasons, but it sounds like this. You got it. Okay, if you guys want to go ahead and make anybody's sub, this one's actually kind of simple when I was looking at it, but I do this a lot with like Virtual Riot or Skrillex, because they have really great subs. So what you can do is you can go ahead and get a special plugin called FabFilter Pro Q3. You could do this with do it with Ableton, but you just can't look at the spectrum. You're just gonna have to look at them both together.
It's not as accurate.
It's not as accurate. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and find your low end of your reference track. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna enable this little low end right here. And I'm going to move it just until I hear a little bit less. So I just hear the sub, and there's the snare right there. You can see it, right? Get out of my face! How do I move this? Okay, there's the snare. So I don't want the snare in there. And you can see here, here's the kick right here, too. Okay, you can see... kind of see that the second wave right here is the actual kick, and this is the low end. Okay, so let me unfull screen that. All right, so here's a nice little nug for you as far as when you guys are using the FabFilter Pro Q3. Now, you want to make sure that you're actually using the same plugin type for each track, okay? Basically, AU is for Apple, VST is for PC, and I think VST3 is like super duper now or something. Who cares? Anyway, point is, if you're going to use AU, make sure you use AU. For this plugin, we recommend using VST3. So if I go ahead and I open up a VST3 version of FabFilter Pro Q3. I'm going to go ahead and do that now, which is on the sub replicate. And I'm going to go ahead and do my low end thing again. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same thing on our reference track, which is called Blips at the moment, okay? So that's at 150 hertz. So now watch this. So I'm on the sub replicate, right? I'm on this one, which is how we're going to replicate the sub. If you go to Analyzer right here and you click over here, it'll show you any other tracks that have the same FabFilter Pro Q3. Now, if I had a FabFilter Pro Q AU, it's not going to show up and it's not going to work, okay? If I have both matching AUs, it'll just say FabFilter. It's not going to say the name of the track. So that's why you use VST3 for this little trick, because it actually tells you if you have a bunch of tracks, it gets confusing. So this makes it a lot easier. So now, that being said, I have a reference track. Bam, I'm going to go ahead and hit Blips. So the red is the actual reference track. That's the Marauder track. Now what I can do, I want to go ahead and get the notes real quick. All right, cool. So now I got the MIDI notes. It's pretty much just this. Ba-na-na-na-na-na. Okay, so now watch this. You can see here, and I can see my note is correct. But I have all this other high-end frequency stuff. I might not really want that, right? So I'm going to go ahead and make this a sine wave. Okay, you can see, look. There is the kick there, but I'm missing a little bit of harmonic frequency, okay? So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to open up the wavetable editor, okay? And I'm going to add a little bit of harmonic frequency. Most likely, and a lot of Tearout is they're using a lot of triangle waves. So I'm just going to match this. Now, another thing that happens is the volume. So when you're referencing a track, you also want to reference volume. And how high the actual spectrum is right here, as you can see in the red, is actually how loud that sub is. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this up because I want the same volume. Let's go ahead and turn that up a little bit more. And you can also do this. You can slow down as long as your track is warped. So the other track, the reference track is warped in a Complex Pro. I'm going to go ahead and slow this down really slow. So I can make sure I can see the envelope, which is you can see the release here. Watch. See how his kind of comes in a little bit different than ours? That's the side chain right there, actually. That's what that is. It looks pretty much the same.
Yeah, that's a really big deal. You slowed the track down.
Right.
So you can see the attack and release of the sub.
Right.
That's amazing. That's a huge cheat code right there.
Like, yeah, that's a big old nug. So you guys go ahead and smoke that up real quick.
Smoke that shit.
Music. Okay, so I'm going to explain that again one more time. Okay, so if I have my reference track in FabFilter Pro Q3, which is the red, okay, and I have my sub that I'm trying to match, what I could do is I could slow down the entire track to a very, very slow BPM, like 20 BPM. And you can see right in the very beginning, so that of how the sound is sort of curved. Wait, I can pause it like that, can't I? That little shape right there is the attack of the sound coming in, right? And what that tells me is when I look at ours, that's the side chain, because that's the kick hitting, so the volume sort of is like sweeping up like this. But then once the side chain stops, I can see that our sub is at the same level. And our decay is good for the most part, okay? You can actually match LFOs and sidechain by matching the same sort of curve. If I was to put a slow attack on mine for the first hit, like a sidechain, let's say I put it on envelope mode, and I turn this off, and I use this as a sidechain. I see that's a little too fast, so I'm gonna move it over. See how it's matching perfectly with the sidechain? That's essentially his sidechain. I can also adjust it this way. Yeah, that's probably about what his sidechain would look like. So kind of a cool little trick right there that you guys can do. It helps with remaking sound sometimes. We'll get into that another time if you guys want. But I'm going to go ahead and remove that right now. Okay, so turn this all the way up. Now we already did a little bit of harmonic adding, just a tiny bit. There's a little bit in this area that I kind of want to mess with. Look. See how it dips right here? So I think I'm going to lower this just a touch and add a little bit more. I don't want to be in the sidechain part either, so I'm going to move over to this part, I think. And I'm in 20 BPM right now. There. I want to try to match that as best I can, so I'm going to add a little bit more frequency. A little too much. You can see that's adding it there. Oh.
There it is. There's that shape. There's the shape on the second bell.
Shape. And then look, I can turn this one up. This would be the second part. That little dip right here, I'm going to turn that up right here. And try to match it exact. That's pretty close. Okay, now I want to get the volume just a little bit louder because I can tell that his is louder. Because sometimes when you adjust these, it changes the actual volume of them. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust the volume just a little bit more. Nice, that's not bad, okay? If I was to do the same thing, now I'm gonna go ahead and show you another thing. So I said most of the time with Tearout, it's usually triangle waves. This almost looks like a triangle wave, it's just not as straight, you know what I mean? It's got a little bit more curve to it. I'm gonna turn this off, and I'm gonna go ahead and add a triangle wave, and we're gonna look at it in the spectrum of things. Look at that. See how it has that second harmonic frequency without even having to actually add it? I like adding
it's like pretty much exact.
Right. The only thing that's different is that there needs to be this needs to be filtered, right? So I would essentially put a low pass filter on it. I'll put it on B, right? And then I would probably do like a really sharp one, like a MG Low 24.
Yeah.
And then I would open up my fab filter. You know, if you don't care that much, you can do this. This is kind of a fast way, but I also like being precise about it if I'm really trying to remake somebody's sub, especially guys like Virtual Riot and Skrillex.
Yeah.
It's like I really want to match their actual loudness of their sub in each harmonic frequency range, right? Yes, we invented this trip. We're super smart, just like we invented the Tearout drop hack, which you guys can see that.
We're hackers,
We're
all right?
Okay?
Straight hackers.
Look, too much volume. There. Okay, turn it up. Turn it up a little bit more. I'm still getting a little bit of harmonic frequency that I don't want. I don't have too much control over it. So what I can do is I can add an EQ. Let's just, you know, you could use the fab filter if you wanted, but for the sake of demonstration, I'm just going to use this EQ right here before the fab filter. So I can do a hard cut like so.
There it is.
A little bit, see how it's a little bit different.
First bell.
Yeah, and then this one, this harmonic is a little bit louder.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why I like doing it. But, you know, pretty good sounding sub. Let's go turn that off. Let's turn this one on. That one sounds better to me. A little more growly, right? Okay, so now that we have this, let's take his and let's go ahead, and now that we have that, let's go ahead and turn off the Fab Filter Pro EQ, and let's cut the lows, right? To about right to where we wanted to, which was, what is this?
150.
150. Okay, so I'm going to cut this to 150, roughly. And I'm going to use our sub instead of his, essentially. So I'm essentially cutting his sub out with our sub. See if it sounds pretty good or similar. There's no side chain, so that might be weird, but kind of cool, right? Right, and I might even do like a little bit more. I might change the attack a little bit to be a little bit
Yeah, and that's
slower.
without sidechain, you guys.
Yeah, there's no side chain. There we go. Maybe a little bit of release. And then these notes are a little bit long, I think, so I'd probably make these a little bit choppier.
Yep.
Pretty cool, right? Okay, so that being said, let's go ahead and take our newfound love of this sub and let's go ahead and apply it. Now, we already have a pretty good sub here, which I'll show you guys this. This is one of our demo tracks for Tearout Volume 1. This sound right here, Scary Terry, is going to be in the download description down below, so you guys can grab that for free. And then, of course, we have the processing rack as well. So you guys can grab that right now for free. And of course, if you guys want to go ahead and learn how we did this entire drop and get all the samples and everything included. If you guys want to get this project file and many, many more like this, you can get all the drums, you can get all the presets, everything that we made. Make sure you guys go check out our Patreon. The link is in the description down below. If you guys go and you click that link, you can see we have tons of different tiers, from feedback to our legacy YouTube tier to our VIP tier. You guys check that out. Pick which one works for you. And if you want to get this project file, you want to join the legacy tier, you can open that up and you'll see we have tons of project files for you guys all to download with all the sounds and presets in there. And of course, our VIP tier, which also includes the project files and exclusive presets and samples for you guys. So check that out and support us on Patreon if you can. We really, really appreciate all our supporters. Thank you. Okay, so in this one, I have the subs, pretty much the same thing. I think what I'm doing in this one for the subs is, yeah, look, we have pretty much the same shape, right? Yep. One interesting thing that you can find in Tearout a lot of times is that they'll add a pitch bend modulation of something like this. This is a very, very fast sort of pitch sort of mod that's going down. So essentially pitches it up really fast, almost like a kick.
On the course pitch.
If I slowed this down, you can hear it. Yeah, on the course pitch. Ding, ding, ding. It almost sounds like a kick. We have it very, very fast. The shape of this is pretty much the same as we did in the other one. There's no effects. It's just a basic shape with adding a little bit of harmonic frequency, okay? And then we also have the low end being cut out and a little bit of limiting. Okay, and then on top, we went ahead and added this layer, which is kind of cool. Add a little bit more sizzle, right? All this is essentially just a sine wave, right? There's no processing. A sine wave with a little bit of saturation. Erosion is the big thing, overdrive, OTT, and then some low cut. And essentially, we're using that to layer on top of this. Let's try it with the new Murata sub that we made. I'm going to go ahead and pull this up here. Murata and Trampa, sorry. Shout out Trampa too as well. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do this. There's more tips coming too. I'm going to show you guys kind of what's interesting about some of these Tearout guys as far as how they're getting their perfect subs. I almost like that better a little bit.
Yeah, it's more there.
Right. So maybe we should have done that for our song, but hey, you don't even
It's
need
a lot
the
more
highs.
present.
Yeah.
It's a lot more present.
Yeah, not bad at all, okay?
And it's responding to our master too, which is great.
Which is really nice. That's another big thing. So yeah, I mean, if you guys are ever trying to get your sub right, you guys can use this method on somebody whose sub that you really like. I would recommend doing it in a similar genre that you are making, so that way you get your levels right. But mainly it's about matching the volume of the frequency and which specific actual frequency bands are being their volume, right? That's essentially what we're doing. One interesting thing about Tearout that I don't think a lot of people get is, so for instance, if I have this Scary Terry bass right here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn off the EQ. I want to show you guys something. Try to turn off all these low ends. All the processing, right? Okay, so this is the patch, again, in the download description below. You notice for the sub, I mean, I know we're not doing this, but for the sub, we're using just a regular triangle wave. And if you go through a lot of these sounds, you guys will see that we're mostly using triangle waves for our subs. But the big difference is when you're using a sub for Tearout, right, is a lot of times with these dubstep sounds, we have these kind of LFOs that are usually doing volume shape, as you can see here. It is rare that in Tearout that you will have an actual LFO volume shape. So for instance, if I was to open up, I don't know, maybe let's just show an example. Let's open up a growl or something. You know, let's say we take Cartel. Let's find like a good little sub so I can show you an example. Oh, okay, perfect. Right, so I have this sub. Okay, and if you notice, there's an LFO that is controlling the volume shape of oscillator A and of the sub. What Tearout does is essentially you take this off. You do not modulate the level of the sub, which a lot of presets will do. Uses triangle waves and just kind of turns up the triangle waves. And you can kind of hear the sub is a little bit more present. So if you listen to a lot of the reference, like sort of Tearout songs and some of like the heavier dubstep songs, the point I'm trying to make is that your LFO is not usually on the actual level knob. That is essentially the secret tip.
Yeah,
right?
it's not gunshotting. You're
Right.
not gunshotting the sub.
You're not LFOing the sub. The sub is just hitting. It has its own sort of envelope on it, right? Like in this case, our sub low right here on our new one, we don't have any sort of modulation on the envelope, right? And it still sounds really good. It doesn't have to follow the same LFO. In trap and in dubstep, a lot of people do that, or in rhythm. They follow the same LFO with their sub. Sorry, you were about to say
I was going to say, if you think about it, it's really hard to make your sub move that fast because it takes a lot of energy to move the low end.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's why you don't get the impact if you're gunshotting the sub.
Right.
You have to have those big, long, sustainy subs.
When you're using LFOs and you're changing patterns and stuff like that, the LFO needs to also change. Otherwise, the speed of it is going to make your sub sort of kind of fluctuate in and out as far as how loud you're hearing it. So a big reason why their subs are always louder than ours is because they're actually just not LFOing the actual sub itself. So whatever layer they're using as a sub, they're using, waves like triangle waves that are very present in the low end, right?
Mm-hmm.
That aren't just a sine, and they're not doing this standard LFO on the level. Not all the time, but that's just something that we've noticed. And yeah, that's a great point, what you're saying, So yeah, kind of some cool tips here. Hopefully you guys learned something really cool. I hope that makes a lot of sense, but you can kind of see basically is when you're making a Tearout sub using triangle waves, try using this matching frequency trick that we just showed you guys how to do, and try to also not always do what you do for other genres, which is essentially putting LFOs on everything. I could easily match this thing and go... Exactly.
I think a big takeaway from this whole video for everybody at home is like, this is a very big visual technique.
Yes, very visual.
Of matching subs, and it's going to help a lot of beginners and a lot of people that don't hear it yet.
Right.
Because it's visual. It's a whole other thing. So I think that's going to be a huge takeaway for everybody at home.
Right.
Because it's visual. You're matching stuff. It's kind of like a video game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're trying to match the waves. You're trying to match the attack and release. And I think that that's going to really help everybody at home.
Yeah, and I don't think it's that hard. I think it's kind of weird, like, explaining it, but I think visually makes sense. I'm a very visual learner.
Yeah, and like the low end is hard to hear. It's hard.
Yes,
it's just hard to hear in general.
True.
Even to the most trained ear,
right.
It's really hard to hear sub frequencies in general.
Absolutely.
So you need another tool to go about that.
Yeah, and another way you can really learn and practice the sub is by getting Tearout Volume 1. Okay,
there
it's on
it
sale
is,
right
dude.
now. In the
Plug
download,
talk.
in the description down below. Okay, you guys can
Look at
go
that
ahead.
beautiful face. Do that again, Danny. Do the little turn. That was sexual.
And the way you could do this is go ahead and get Tearout Volume 1, okay? We got 150 serum presets in there with tons of Tearout subs that you can kind of learn and reverse engineer. So hopefully you guys really enjoyed this. We enjoyed teaching this. If you guys want to see more in-depth stuff like this, let us know. If you guys have tips for your subs or remaking other people's subs so that you have, consistent volume like everybody, let us know in the comments down below. We really appreciate it when you guys hit us up and give us
we love talking to you
stuff.
guys in the comments. It's amazing.
Check us out on TikTok and Instagram. We got a bunch of cool little nugs of Nodge in there if you guys like to smoke that shit up like us.
And stop by next week for some more Tearout hacks.
Yeah, we got more Tearout videos on the way, so
coming,
don't you guys
baby.
worry. Yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much. Let's go ahead and play this out. What do you say?
Let's play it out, baby.
Oh, subscribe. We're at
Tiny Horns in the chat.
if you want. No pressure.